Hi, it's Lipstick Gal. Thanks for watching today. I wanted to do a really interesting video. I've seen it kind of going around and I was like, oh, that looks like it'd be fun. And I got halfway through Smoky Glow's tag video and then I had to put the brakes on. I was like, nope, this is too much fun. I want to do this myself and I don't want to be influenced anymore. And I've seen other people have this kind of rolling around and I was like, oh, I want to watch them, but I want to record my own video first. So I'll make sure to link the videos that I'm interested in watching. By the way, the person who created this, her name is Lisa Lobotomy. She's a makeup channel here on YouTube. I'll link her channel down below as well. But this is the bad and the boring makeup tag. And there are so many times that I go into Sephora or I go into Ulta or the drugstore and I'm like, what, that's it? Really? That's what you want me to buy? And so I'm going to talk about makeup today. And these are, and I hate having to do a disclaimer at all, but I love makeup with my whole heart, but I know what works for me and what makes me happy. And then there are things that I'm just kind of like, So if these are things that you love or items that, or brands that you think are just the best, please, 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 just remember they don't work for me and I don't like them. It's not personal. All right, so the first question is a foundation finish that you don't like. And I live for a dewy foundation. So for me, the exact opposite of that is matte. Now I do have some matte foundations. I have the one from Juvia's Place, which I like. I do have Double Wear from Estee Lauder. I have a matte from Lancome, their Tanti Doll. And I like all of those, but to me, they're not like a flat matte. It doesn't look like Kat Von D's matte foundation. I forget what it's called. I had a sample of that once and I looked like death on a cracker. I do like to have a little bit of a glow, not just highlight, but also kind of a, boy, moist is a bad word, but just so your skin doesn't look dry and flat. And I feel like matte foundation does me no favors. So I don't really ever go for a flat matte. Maybe a more luminous matte or a demi matte. And I feel like the matte foundations that I have tend to fall more in that demi matte as opposed to matte matte. All right, question number 2, the worst mascara you've ever tried. And this is hard because there are a lot of mascaras that don't work for me. And my criteria is, and you might have already heard me mention this, I have a very leaky left eye. This started about 3 years ago where it just started like tearing up constantly. So I don't wear a liquid eyeliner anymore. I don't wear a lot of eyeliner. Any mascara that cannot withstand a little, dribble, a little tear that constantly is leaking out the left side of my eye, I can't handle it. So I've come across a lot of mascaras that don't handle my situation here. And I don't hold that against mascaras, but the minute I shell out a big amount of money and you don't work, ooh, that is like the end of it for me. So I have 3 mascaras listed. So I've come across a lot of drugstore prices that I don't like or didn't work, and I don't really mind those as much because they weren't as much of an investment. But the minute I have to pay $25 for Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, and then I end up with gray smears like right down here, no way. I will not buy that mascara. I won't even buy the waterproof I mean, there's no way you can get me to do that mascara. And I know they have a new mascara called Damn Girl, and I'm really intrigued, but I'm like, I can't trust your other one. I'm not gonna buy that. Another one that huge epic fail for me and was really expensive, $32, was Charlotte Tilbury's Legendary Lashes. This was her initial Legendary Lashes. I don't know if it was $32. Her current Legendary Lashes Volume 2 is going for $32. It might have been $30, $29 or $30 when it first debuted a couple years ago. But that was like Too Faced Better Than Sex times 10. I had like little crumbles on my cheeks and then transfer from both my upper and lower lashes down here. So smoky and smudgy and gray. Oh, it just did not look good. And another one that I haven't tried in years, but I never loved it and I heard everybody rave about it. And this has been probably 20 years ago. I mean, you probably be like, nobody talks about that mascara now. But the one that I remember everybody loving and I tried and I wanted to love and I wanted to love and it gave me like 3 little clumps of lashes on each eye is Lancome's Defenicil. That one's $27.50. And there's no way I'm paying that much for a really simple wand and a really wet formula that just makes all of my lashes clump together in like 3 little spidery lashes. I'm not paying that much money for that. All right, from there, question number 3, an item that you have tried once and then thrown away. Now, this is hard because if we're talking about an item that I literally, okay, it came in my BoxyCharm and it was a Star Looks, what was it called? The Mechanical Gem Eye Pencil. Now, if you go on the Starlooks website, they charge $19 for this. And it was so terrible. I got a really pale shell pink color that had some almost like glitter in it. So, and it looked like that if you could actually get it to make a mark, it had a little bit of iridescence and glitter. It was shimmery. No, it was so dry. I could not, like pressing really hard, I couldn't make a mark on my hand. And then I tried to get it on my eye. There was no color, literally no color. And I don't know whether it was because it was a really pale shell pink and I'm a pale person and I couldn't see it on my skin tone. But it was also as I was trying to, make a mark with it, it was snapping off. So that was really bad. So I used it and then I tossed it. I tried it the once and I was like, oh no, no, no. But another product that I just recently got, and I didn't throw it away, I returned it because I still had the receipt. And I was like, I'm not paying $22 for this. It was from Buxom. They had a lip stain. It's their Serial Kisser lip stain. And I had a shade, it was called Pucker Up Dolly. It was a pretty kind of plummy nude shade. It was very nude, but it had a little bit of plum to it. And I liked the shade and I liked the idea of a lip stain. But the worst part of it was the minute I opened up the tube and I started to apply it, the smell was so chemically. It was so caustic. It smelled like paint thinner. It was the worst smell. And then it didn't go away. Now, I do have a very sensitive nose. And normally, scents in makeup products like the Too Faced Sweet Peach, that doesn't bother me. There's a lot of other things, makeup items that smell like MAC's vanilla lipsticks. Those don't bother me. But this didn't have like a sweet scent to it. It didn't have like a no scent to it. It's like they put in the smell of chemical as their scent. It was awful. So I sent that back. I got my $22 back. I don't recommend it. Anyway, all right. So question number 4, the most boring eyeshadow palette I own. So I kind of started going through my collection. I have 5 that I pulled out. Now, this is going to be a little journey here. The first one I immediately thought of was this one. This is from Pure. It's the Soiree Diaries. And if you look at it, it's all neutral and it's all brown. And the top 2 rows are matte and the bottom one isn't. And then I put my finger in these metallics at the bottom and they're actually really pretty. And I haven't worn this in a long time, but I remember especially loving this really taupey shade down here. So even though it's not a really exciting one, these guys here to me make it worth it. So that, I was like, no, you're not my most boring one. And then I thought about this. And this is from the Balm. This is their Smoke Balm. And it literally is 3 little shades. This one here is matte and these 2 are shimmery. And okay, it is a very, very but I love this palette. And I use this palette on the days that I have like 5 minutes to get ready and I want to put a little something on my eyes, just a little something. I use these 2 shades right here in the crease and then, inner corner and on the lid. It's super easy. So I was like, no, that's not my most boring palette. And you may be thinking, what? But there are days that like, if you have me pull out a palette that has 32 shades in it, I get so overwhelmed. So a little teeny tiny 3-pan palette like this makes my heart happy. So you may not find it inspirational, but this is my quick go-to. I love this palette. And then I thought about the thing that I dislike the most. It's not that I dislike it, and it has its place, but an all matte eyeshadow palette, and I instantly thought of this. This is Urban Decay's Naked Ultimate Basics. And a row of cool tones, and these guys are a little bit warmer, but this, I've used it. I even actually used it for the little bit of eyeshadow I'm wearing today. There's not a lot. And it is a very basic look, but I was like, this might be the all-time most boring palette that I own. And then I opened one more drawer, just one more. It has to go to this. Because even though I bought this and I wanted to love this, I've had this for a year. This is the Balms Meet Matrimony Matte Eyeshadow Palette. I haven't touched a single shade in here. Not a single shade. Every single one of these still is like factory perfect. And so for me, it comes down to, even though there is a few more shade options in here, if I haven't touched it, it must mean it's not inspiring me. And I was like, ooh, that's not good. So this right here, I think, is my most boring palette. And I love the other Meet Matte palettes. I have a couple of other ones and I really like them. I don't like this one, mainly because I haven't touched it, which just means that it doesn't call to me. Question number 5 is interesting because it says it's a makeup trend that I think is boring and I wish would go away. Now, I know this trend is not going to go away, and I don't necessarily think that it's boring, but for me, it's the easy way out. And this is nude lips. I don't even know that we could even call it a trend, because nude lips have been here for a long time and will be here like way beyond the days that I ever want to put a lipstick on. But yeah, I always, obviously, if I am wanting to put on a lipstick, I usually reach for a bold. And my favorite lipstick is my favorite makeup item, and my favorite lipsticks are bold, punchy lipsticks. I do have a couple of favorite nudes, and I have fallen in love with nude lipstick, but if I have to pick between a bold eye and a nude lip, or a bare eye and a punchy lip, this is what I'm doing. I love me a bold lip, red lips, this kind of fuchsia pink, a deep berry, a vampy dark color, like anything at all, even purple lipstick, like whatever there is, make it bold, make it fun. I am there for it all day long. So for me, the exact opposite of that is kind of like, almost like concealer lips, like we're not even here. That's something that I really don't find appealing, and if I'm going to wear a nude lipstick, I want it to look more like my natural lip color a little bit more, which is still not like that completely blanked out concealer lip. Maybe I should say the concealer lip, but I don't really see anyone doing that much anymore. All right, so question number 6, the worst liquid lipstick I have ever tried. Ooh, it came to me in a boxy charm, and it's this. This is the Lorac Pro liquid lipstick, and this is the shade Berry Red. Now, I love this shade. I mean, because, sign me up for this shade. But this lipstick costs $19 if you were to go to the store and purchase it. With this type of regular doe foot applicator, it's almost impossible for me to get my lips properly lined with just this. And it dries so quickly that if you have to touch up in areas, then it just starts to dry in and then it crumbles. And I found that the more I was talking, I had little crumbles down here on my chin with my dewy face base, and I had like little speckles of pink that started to just kind of bleed out in little places. Oh, it was the worst. And it also made my lips feel like the desert. So this is the worst one I have ever tried. I don't love liquid lipsticks. I don't want to love liquid lipsticks. I have very few formulas that I really enjoy. This is not one of them. This is probably the worst. Second to this, ColourPop's Ultra Matte Lip. That one's bad. All right. This is interesting. Question number 7 is, what color do I think is the most boring? Now, this was hard because for me, if you're asking for a boring color, I would instantly say beige. Because what is worse than beige? It's like when people are trying not to decide what color to paint the walls, they go beige. But I was thinking, when it comes to makeup, beige, all of my powders are beige. So I don't know. My favorite eyeshadows that I use almost every single look is a and I'll probably be able to find it in this right here. Look, in the palette I don't use. This shade right here, this kind of pale beige bone shade. It's very close to my skin tone, and I use it to set my primer on my lid. So I use this all the time, and I also use it as a brow bone highlight. So this shade here is the one I think is boring. But if we're talking like a legit color, because to me, for my skin tone, beige is not really a color. That's just what I am. If we're talking a color, the one that to me is the least inspiring and makes me want to build a whole look around it is this baby shell pink. This right here, this baby pink, that to me is kind of like, I put on eyeshadow, or I put on blush, or I put on baby pink lipstick, but I don't want you to know that I'm wearing any. I have it on, but you really can't tell. Which is basically like beige, but it's trying a little harder, and to me, in that attempt to try a little harder, it succeeds less. So I think that baby pink or that shell pink is probably the most boring color, and the one that I obviously don't reach for. Question number 8 is the brand that I think is the most boring, or that are coming out with things that are not inspiring. I was like, oh boy. I started thinking about the last time I walked through, I have an Ulta like maybe 7 minutes from my house. And when I go into Ulta and I start looking through all of the like gondolas, all of the different, lines, there is one brand that I have yet to pick up anything from aside from brow products, and that is Benefit. I feel like Benefit continues to come out with more box of blushes, different shades, all very nude neutrals. I don't know. I don't feel like, even though they're putting out new things, I don't feel like it really makes me want to go and get one. They recently launched a new foundation. I'm not interested. I felt like they've been repackaging their concealers in different packaging. I feel like they've been doing that with a lot of their products. They've been repackaging some things, and none of it has ever really inspired me to go and to buy it. Some of their things are okay. I know they have some all-time hits. I do love their Hoola Light, but if I'm going to have to go and buy another bronzer, it'd probably be something other than Hoola Light when I pan it and finish it. I can't think of, they have those those eyeshadows that come like in little silver boxes and little strips, and they have this little kind of spherical eyeshadow sponge that you just wipe across the whole thing and then you lay it down. Or lipsticks that are kind of like liner and lipstick all in one, where they have a darker shade at the tip, a little teardrop shaped lipstick that you put on. It's supposed to line your lips, and I'm like, how lazy do you have to be? I know them and I trust them for brow products. I like a lot of their brow pencils. I like their brow powder. There's a lot of things like brows. I feel like, yes, that's where it's at for Benefit. But aside from that, question number 9, this one, I had a really hard time thinking about it because I love makeup so much. The question is, I'll tell you what it is. The step in your makeup routine that is the most boring. And this is hard because I love makeup so much. I enjoy all of it. Now, there are days that some aspects of my makeup are less successful than others, but the one that I get the least amount of joy out of, I love what it turns out looking like after I do it, but I feel like it's kind of compulsory for me, is concealer. If I'm going to put on makeup, even if I'm wearing very little to no makeup, first thing I always have on is lipstick. But if I'm going to do one thing more than lipstick, it's going to be concealer, because I've got really dark circles under my eyes. And I feel like it makes a big difference, and I love the look of having concealer on and having slightly more perfected skin, but it's not exciting. To me, lipstick is exciting. Highlighter is exciting. Doing my brows is exciting. It's always kind of like an adventure. Are they going to look alike? Are they going to look like big bushy caterpillars? Or are they going to look like So I always feel like it's kind of like, even the excitement for me for brows is kind of like the roll of the dice. What are they going to look like today? But to me, concealer is probably the put it on, tap it in, bounce it in with a brush, whatever it is that we're blending it with. But it's the one that I do, but I don't get the most joy out of. Question number 10, if I had to choose between a good base and a bad eye, or a bad base, and a good eye, what would I choose? I would go for the good base and the bad eye, because I feel like, you know, the eye makeup I have on today, I have like 2 shades of eyeshadow on and mascara. It's not a bad eye, but it's a very nondescript eye. But I want my skin to look luminous and gorgeous. Always, always, always. I want products that will work the hardest for me to make me look the best. And I feel like there's more real estate on my skin, like, than there is just like on my eyes. I feel like, now, don't get me wrong, I have done bad eyeshadow looks that I was like, what was I thinking? How did I let myself leave the house like this? But I feel like, you know, you can always solve a bad eyeshadow look by, you know, a bright lipstick, or distract, sunglasses even. Put on sunglasses and wear sunglasses. That'd be harder to do in the wintertime or indoors, unless you're one of those people who's super extra and likes to wear shades indoors. So I feel like I could get away from, you know, a bad eye look, but I would never want my skin to look bad. If I'm putting on makeup, this needs to look good. So I would much rather deal with maybe not so good on the eyes and really good for a base. Ideally, we'd have both, but if I had to choose, I'd always do a good base. Oh, this was a fun tag to do. I'm just gonna go, now that I've recorded mine, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna watch all the other ones, because I think these questions are really interesting, and I'd be interested to know, you know, what somebody thought the worst mascara was, or the most boring brand, or, yeah, I thought it'd be fun. So I'll leave a couple of my favorite videos in the description bar below, as well as a link to Lisa Lobotomy's YouTube page. She's the one who came up with this tag. And if you have any strong feelings about any of the questions here, I'll leave the questions in the description bar as well. Let me know your answers to some of these questions. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.